I've had the privilege of attending Pride festivals or marches in almost every city I've lived in. And I've noticed they're all a little bit different. When I lived in Washington, D.C., which boasted as being many years voted as one of the most gay-friendly cities in America, Pride in D.C. is a spectacle. And the Pride March / the Pride Parade, literally floats, beads, everything, is a spectacle, and the Pride Parade is the first event of the party. Pride in Tel Aviv is world-renowned, also a spectacle, I'd say, also a party, also a time to boast that Tel Aviv and Israel therefore represents an abnormality throughout the Middle East, a place where folks who are LGBTQIA+ are welcome. Now, Pride in Jerusalem, on the other hand, just about an hour bus ride away, is a political event. Pride in Jerusalem, you come with protest signs. There are moments of silence. There are times where you stop where the chief rabbi of the city sits and you shout outside his window. It is a political march. In Cincinnati and northern Kentucky, Pride is a time for community to come together. It is a time for people to just be themselves, be public, and be one community. But in all of these different communities, in all of these different ways to observe Pride, something has been very clear throughout all of them, which is that Pride in itself is a time to be unapologetically yourself, and it is a time for people to say, I matter, I am valued, and for everyone else to say, you matter and you are valued. Your worth is there. Thus, it seems appropriate that this week's Torah portion, Bamidbar, is about exactly that. It's about saying who matters, who counts. Bamidbar is the first Torah portion in the book of Numbers, which is literally a lot of numbers. It opens up in Numbers 1-2 by God commanding Moses, take a census of the whole Israelite people by the clans of the ancestral houses or the tribes, listing the names of every male by head by head. So, in this time we are taking a census, and it is very clear, and it goes on throughout the next few verses, that the census is men who are able-bodied and over the age of 20. Now, I think we should all approach any census with a bit of skepticism. This one, particularly. So, of course, today, as well as the rabbis of ancient times, said, why are we taking a census? What is the purpose here? And many respond, this is logistical. We are a people entering a new land, and we need to be ready in case we need to go to war. So what we are actually taking a census of is who is ready to fight, who's going to be drafted. And so they said able-bodied men over the age of 20. That's the military, that's who we're actually counting. I'd call that the logistical approach. Now, Rashi, one of our medieval commentators, takes a bit of a different approach. He instead says, in response to this idea of taking a census, that it is because they were dear to God. God counts them every now and then. He quotes from Exodus 12:37, when they went forth from Egypt, God counted them. When many of them fell in consequence of their having worshipped the golden calf, God counted them to ascertain the number of those left, from Exodus 30. When he was about to make a Shekhinah, a feminized version of God, dwell among the people in the form of the tabernacle, God also took a census. For on the first day of Nisan, the tabernacle was erected in Exodus 40, and shortly afterwards, the first day of Iyar, God counted them. Counting, as Rashi started, was because the people were dear. It was an act of love to say, you're not left behind. We need to know who's here. We need to know who's present. So we have the logistical, we We have an act of love. Now I want to bring a third approach, which is actually a grammatical approach, which is the fact that there are a few Hebrew words for the word to count. And in Numbers 1-2, that's not the verb that's used. Instead, it is sa'u et harosh, lift up the head. Literally raise up the head. So what does it mean to lift up the heads, to raise up these people? Now, while the people who are commanded to be counted are, one small subset of the population, we leave out a lot of people by only counting able-bodied men over a certain age. We leave out women, we leave out children, we leave out anyone of any sort of different ability. We leave out anyone who doesn't just identify as a man, which is quite the wide spectrum. And the fact is that even today in America, we still leave people out when we count. It took until 1969 for the beginning of the gay rights movement to even begin with a police raid. Not a counting, not a time out of love, but rather Stonewall riots in New York City in June of 1969. But there were many moments where people counted and they were full of hope. The first ever organization of a gay rights organization was in 1924, the Society for Human Rights, which was founded by Henry Garber in Chicago. 1924, they were ready to count, and they were ready to be valued. But still, we have been slow in this process of lifting up the heads of Sa'u et Harosh. It took until, from 1924, the first organization, to 2012, for the first ever US president to openly support gay marriage, until 2012. It took until 2021 to repeal an act that said that trans people actually are allowed to serve in the military, until 2021, to say they are. But it also took till 2021 to confirm that people can now have a gender on their passport that is not male or female. Until 2021, people now count. People whose gender is not one or the other, not a binary, matter. Yet, we still have space to grow. We still have space to Sa'u et Harosh, to lift up the heads of everyone in our community. In the women's commentary on this Torah portion, they conclude with a poem called Forgotten by Lisa Levine. She writes, "I wondered on the day of the counting why my husband and his brothers and their sons were numbered among the stars of heaven, but my daughters and I were not even noticed. Doing the washing, baking the bread, raising our children, I wondered why I, the womb that held them, was forgotten." And for today, I think about those who are forgotten, those who don't have a bathroom in their school that feels appropriate for them, those that want to donate blood in time of a pandemic and still are restricted from doing so. I wonder why there are so many laws currently sitting ready to be signed that are trying to restrict people from being exactly who they are, restrict kids from being able to speak openly about who they are in schools and in what should be safe spaces. I wonder what it is to lift up the heads, to Sa'u et Harosh, of all, not just B'nai Yisrael, not all the children of Israel, but B'nai United States, B'nai America, to count and to say that everyone, specifically those who are in the LGBT plus community, matter and are counted. In this country, wonder what it means to lift up those heads, whether you are with that community, whether you are just an ally. It is something I think we all need to work on, not just in this month, when it is a time to celebrate. And I invite you this month to participate in Pride events in Columbus or wherever you may be, to participate in the spectacle, the party, the marches, but to not forget that part of that is to Sa'u et Harosh, to lift up the heads, to raise the voices, and raise up the spirits of those who feel pride and need to feel pride in more than just 1 month of the year. Shabbat Shalom.